Hello, CYC viewers. Welcome to Perspect Yourself. My name is Gina Shanuda, and here we have my co-host Moheb Basili, also known as Mo. And here we have Parthenia. Oh God,
Gregarious.
She has two very complicated names. Also known as Parthenia. Nothing special. Actually, a lot of special.
Very special.
Very special. It's just I can't pronounce. And at the end here we have Joseph Hanna, also known as Joe.
Mojo.
Mojo. They don't.
Go. It's working.
But they don't have mojo. Don't be fooled.
What?
Maybe a little.
We're working.
You'll decide.
Yeah.
So today's topic, we're going to be talking about parties or going to events that require you to party at the toxic community. But not saying that they're toxic parties, but we're just saying members like us who go out to party. We're not saying we party either.
We don't party.
We absolutely
Ever.
Party.
But we're talking about events such as weddings, prom. I'm sure you're all familiar with prom. Sweet 16. Hopefully you just got one.
Beginning of the party.
Right? You're still illegal, by the way.
Your father's 50th
And it's
birthday
fun
party.
when you're illegal. It's
Birthday
once you
party.
become legal, then.
We opened a new pharmacy party.
Yes.
All parties.
Graduation, party, you name it. We'll be talking about how we conduct ourselves throughout these parties and what makes it okay and what not okay. We're not going to say what is okay. We're just going to say we're going to talk about the issues regarding them. And we're also going to be talking about what our church views on them, as long as also with our views. However, these are just our views and just as far as our spiritual knowledge goes. It's not to say this is what everyone thinks, and we do not represent any body in particular, but ourselves. All right, so we'll turn to you, Parthenia.
Party. So, party starting at Sweet 16. First of all, how do you guys even feel about that?
No.
I mean, what do you throw a
No.
party? Do you need a party when you turn 16?
Yeah.
Because what do you do? Oh, you can drive? Not even. You can start to learn.
Do boys have Sweet 16? I thought it was just a girl
No,
thing.
and what's the deal with the double standard, okay? Girls have a sweet 16. I want a sweet 16.
I want a sweet 19.
Become Jewish.
It's
Do
not
it when
real.
you're 13.
No, okay, look. Seriously, you need, why wouldn't you celebrate being born? It's good times. Just keep it
You
in
celebrate
moderation.
every year.
Yeah, so what? You should celebrate every year. I'm not saying go crazy on your 16th birthday and do all
But
this.
have you seen some of the, like, have you guys, okay, on Facebook, because of course this has to come to Facebook,
Yeah, okay.
everything has to come to Facebook.
Yeah, okay.
You see the 16-year-olds parties that they're having nowadays. They're not like for 16-year-olds anymore. So the question is,
We're not living the P. Diddy lifestyle, all right?
I know.
We're not
Okay,
going out
but
buying
some-
cars
but
for our
some
kids. That's
16-year-olds
I don't know, I've
out
seen
there
cars
are
for the
doing
kids.
it. That's what I'm saying. So
okay.
But how do we feel about us doing it? Coptic Christians doing it?
Well,
I think we have to define what the party is.
Absolutely
exactly. I
not.
mean,
What-
just because we're Christian doesn't mean we can't party.
Yeah.
Right?
What are you defining as
Can
a
we not party
16-year-old
because
party?
we're Christians?
I don't
Or
know.
You know,
Are
I
we
think-
Coptic? Actually, even Coptic, right? I think Coptic is
I
our
mean, we
focus
do
here.
go to weddings.
We do go to
Yeah.
I know at weddings
Coptic
we
people
have
get married.
dancing.
We have dancing.
There's
We have some
alcohol.
drinking, yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well,
that's
you know
right.
what?
Yeah,
Nowadays, it's actually most of the time. I've been to 4 weddings so far, and they've all Coptic weddings, and they've all been open bars.
Yeah.
But let's put it this way. If a priest kid was getting married, there'd be no dancing and definitely no alcohol.
But do
Okay.
you not see that changing? I say give it another couple of years, and I can see a priest kid saying, that's not fair. My dad's a priest, so I can't party the way I want or the way everybody else wants.
I don't know.
And
I don't know about that. At the end of the day, you do see both things. And you don't just see it from priest kids. You don't just see it from the family of the priest. And you don't just see it from Coptic people. A lot of people, not Coptic, other Christians or non-Christian, don't believe that alcohol has a place at the wedding. And for whatever reason, that may be right, that may be wrong. But I think at the end of the day, we shouldn't just focus on the alcohol component. We shouldn't just focusing on the dancing component. What is a party?
And how do we celebrate? By dancing.
But dancing is fine. Dancing is fine. Dancing is one aspect. But we
But
gotta look at one
consumption,
specific thing.
alcohol consumption is also classified as a way of celebrating.
Celebrate.
You know when you celebrate, you go cheers or toast.
That
Yeah, but you can do that with coffee. You can do that with orange juice in the morning to your family. I mean,
nobody who in what morning world would be like cheers.
why not?
Cheers to
Why
a
not?
crazy time.
That doesn't happen. Not-
A cup of freshly squeezed.
Maybe that's orange.
No,
That's not real. Look,
Why not?
I
Why
think
not?
in
You're
certain places like weddings and things like that, in certain events, I think it's fine in moderation to do what you have to do. I'm not saying go crazy on the dance floor. That's not what I'm saying. And go
But
insane.
what's crazy on the dance floor?
It's subjective to everybody, okay? But what you have to keep in mind is everybody around you. I think as long as you're not making people feel uncomfortable, that's number one. And
Wait, who's not making people feel uncomfortable? People doing the
if
dancing?
say
and
I
alcohol?
decide to drink, if I decide to
Okay.
drink on a crazy whim on a wedding,
Okay.
and I start making people feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
by the amounts I'm consuming and by my actions,
Yeah.
then obviously I've crossed that line.
But then
But
who's
why?
responsible? Are you responsible or the hosts who have offered you this
I'm
alcohol?
responsible. I'm responsible. Of
At
course
the end
I'm
of the day,
responsible.
at the end of the day, it comes down, like past the age of 4
I
or
don't
5,
know.
you know what's
I
right or
think-
wrong. No, you know what's right or wrong, and by saying that the host of the party is responsible is just a cop-out. It's an excuse.
I don't think it's
We
a
all
cop-out. I think
control
they
our
have some
actions.
responsibilities.
We all
if you're
control
going to
our
have an
actions.
open bar, whether it's at a wedding or a party or whatever it is, you're having an open bar, you know you're going to give people that chance to go crazy.
No, absolutely.
Okay,
not.
that's fair.
No,
That's fair.
ridiculous.
But
It's
you
their-
should conduct yourself properly, accordingly. You can't tell me that the government can't open up an LCBO store of alcohol, and that's the government's
But the
fault.
government sort of has laws around that. It's in your house or it's in licensed places, right? There's a way to control that. There's a way where they're
But you
giving
can't
people that
control
responsibility.
people.
That's fair, but in essence, there's a bartender there. Their sole job isn't just to provide people with alcohol. Their job is to make sure, okay, this guy hasn't had too much, this guy's okay, and use that kind of sense. It's not a job where you're just giving out alcohol.
But guys, again, we're
That
taking...
We're
person's
talking
health
about
liable.
responsibility.
For
Let's
us.
let's bring it back to this, okay?
Yeah.
We're brought into this world. This world is filled with sin,
Absolutely.
right? And it's filled with, so what? God should have created a perfect world, or there wasn't?
I'm not saying God should have created a perfect
But
world.
that's
I'm just
exactly goes
saying
back to it's your
that-
responsibility when you are subjected to things that you know isn't justified to who you are as a Christian. I mean, and again, everyone stands at a different Christian level, right? So I'm
Fair
not
enough.
to say where you stand, but if it's anyway infringing on what that is to you, then
That's what I. That's,
your
that's what I'm
responsibility.
saying. If it's so then does that mean like weddings or parties where it's an open bar or where alcohol is available for free, by the way, because it does matter, right?
we like the free.
Does that?
Free's good.
Coffee
does
people
that-
love free.
It is,
I don't know. I feel like is that a reflection of the host? Then do you think?
Well, even if it is a
No.
reflection of the
Then maybe
host,
does that-
and even if it is a reflection of the host, and they have offered alcohol, and they have offered it for free, and they have offered it in limitless quantities, doesn't it come down to you at the end of the day to say like I can have one, I can have two, but I stop myself at this limit?
Absolutely.
I think it
depends on you.
does.
right?
I think at the end of the day, it's your responsibility.
Let's put it to this illusion, okay?
There's a reason why there's an age limit when it's 19 and not 14.
Because you're supposed to have maturity. You're supposed to have developed inside to know the difference between what is your limit and what is not.
That's
and you're
right.
supposed to understand that in certain social contexts, you can do certain things that you can't do in others. For example, I'm not going to have a glass of wine at a business meeting where I'm presenting to the CEO of the board. No, at a wedding I might, right? It's different situations.
So hold on, that's a very good point. So you wouldn't have a drink at a party. Let's say you're at a party, a work party, okay? And the CEO is there, your boss is there, a lot of people you're trying to impress. Would you get intoxicated at that party?
Getting
course.
intoxicated is different from having a drink. Like, it
I
could be,
agree.
It could be.
That
it
is
could be.
true. That's
That's
true.
another
Absolutely.
thing.
I would not
That's
get
true.
intoxicated at a
Right?
wedding.
Because
in
you
either
may
scenario.
because you may say I'm not going to have a drink, and then maybe you'll be judged negatively by that boss whom you're trying to
Perhaps.
impress too. That's
Perhaps.
the other thing too.
But isn't it a slippery slope? To say
agree.
I must now drink because my boss is drinking, therefore I should have a drink? Isn't there a very slippery slope?
I'm not saying I
And let me
must
ask you this. If they're drinking and you don't feel comfortable drinking and they will judge you negatively, is that really a boss you want to work for?
That's a good point.
That's
That's
a
a
very
good
good
point.
point.
And I think you're right. Actually, you know what? I actually agree with you on that. I actually agree with you on
Thank you
that.
for that.
You got one. That's good.
There's a first time for everything, folks.
This is magic right here. You guys don't know.
Yeah, because but I don't know, but yeah.
Okay,
Alright.
let's change the topic. How do we feel about prom?
Well, again, I think you're old enough. You're about to hit university.
17,
A lot of you
yeah.
are about, like a lot of people end up going away. I mean, you have to take a lot of responsibility as it is, right? Living on your own, cleaning and cooking,
Look,
you can't clean.
Okay, but hold on.
Why? Because your mom does it.
hilarious.
Who
That's
ironed
true.
this shirt today?
My mother.
I ironed my shirt, okay? I woke up and I ironed my
You've
shirt.
been living by yourself.
All right, off topic.
All
My
right,
mom
we're back,
was there.
we're
My
back.
mom offered. I said I will do it anyways. Prom.
All right, back
Yeah.
to prom.
This
And
is-
then gaining
yeah.
responsibility, right?
Yeah.
I think you're old enough to know what's your limit. You go to prom, I think you should go to prom because I think it's a stepping
Absolutely.
stone in your...
The issue that I have is that in a lot of churches, You know, there are some announcements that go around that go, oh, you know, you shouldn't send, you know, your kid to prom. And a priest would stand there and make that announcement. And I'm not okay with that. Like, that's not a thing that we should be encouraging. Sure, they could say, you know, we advise our children maybe not to go or things like that. But to make a public announcement to parents that are there,
Fully discouraging or just,
completely,
Making it twice as hard for the kid to convince their parents.
and
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing. I've personally been to prom. Have you guys been to
I've been
prom?
to prom, I went to my
Oh.
prom.
Everybody here has been to prom, and it was a good time.
And
Personal.
I think
We
people,
didn't go to the after party
I,
because we
that's,
obviously.
that's the second. That's another question.
Right.
The after parties, but it's not the question right now. The question is prom. And if you think about it, really, what is their problem with prom? Why the fear of prom? There's no alcohol, right? There was no alcohol at
They
my
have
prom.
security
They
outside
can't.
to make sure
Yeah,
you're
right?
not.
There are
You're all
teachers there.
underage.
All our
Teachers.
teachers are there, and our friends are there. So really,
guys-
it's like going to school, just dressed up nicely
Okay, but
at
hang on.
night.
You're right.
But on
and
that
there's
note-
dinner.
At lunchtime.
And
But
it's
I
usually
disagree
it's a
there. I
farewell.
absolutely disagree there, okay? I've been to prom. I think that going to prom is okay. But let's be honest, okay?
Yeah.
What's socially acceptable is not acceptable within the body of Christ. It is not acceptable in the church. Of
course.
If I go to a prom and I grab a girl and her and I are dancing in an inappropriate manner, and I'm not saying that dancing is right or wrong, but we're dancing in an inappropriate manner, okay? To the society
Again,
that we
but
live
that's
in.
your responsibility.
No, but to the society that we live in, okay, that's fine. So it's not to say that when we go there, yes, there will be temptation. Yes, there will be opportunity. So I think the priests say, don't go to prom because you want to avoid that temptation
Right.
and that opportunity altogether. In which case, I think they have a valid opinion.
You know what? That's exactly what I was saying about thank you. You've actually put that in very nicely, because that's how I felt about the alcohol at a wedding, at a Coptic wedding. Two things I have to say about that. First, to answer what you just said, okay, well, inappropriate things could happen at a party, at a wedding party.
Absolutely, can happen
First of all,
anywhere.
right?
Absolutely.
So, and second of all, then just going to what you just said, no, but this opportunity you're making yourself available to the opportunity of that happening. Well, I think this is where I think the host is responsible by, yes, it's not their responsibility. The host is not coming up to you and saying, drink, 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 right?
Maybe.
But they're presenting that choice to you. That choice is now available as opposed to going to a wedding
You're
where there's no
older.
alcohol.
These are kids. And
19,
it's,
18.
No, high school
okay,
is
fine,
not-
17, 18.
High school when you're 17, 18.
you're still young. I mean,
You haven't
when-
experienced the world.
You haven't.
haven't.
You're still living on your parents' home.
How about open bars? Okay, well then what
There's
about
no
kids
open
at-
bars at proms.
Okay,
Don't
that's
get it.
true.
don't
Fine.
get
You know
it
what?
twisted.
Okay,
I won't mix the two. I'm just.
You can't
but
compare
made
the two.
You made just my point before about making that option available to whoever the person is. That's all I was trying to say before
That's
about
fine.
the open bar. That was my whole
Look, the
point
thing,
about
the
it.
thing with
That's all.
prom with me,
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying
In
that.
general,
but
yeah.
in prom, sorry, back to prom.
yeah,
Back to prom.
whatever. And prom, it's just a fancy party because in a lot of occasions,
It's
this
a
is
celebration.
It's a celebration. This is the
Graduating.
last
at
time.
4
the end,
years.
This is
it's
at the
your
end of
final-
exams.
Last hurrah.
You
Yeah.
guys finish up your
Milestone.
exams, you
Absolutely.
meet up,
Yeah.
you exchange numbers, good luck, where you going, congratulations, you look really nice, hop in the limo,
So
go.
do I.
It's a good, looking phenomenal, obviously, ladies.
Always,
Always,
always.
obviously keep it
Oh,
nice.
always.
And that's it, that's the whole thing. It's not this like, we shouldn't be having like these announcements and things that are like, okay, and then this is what happened at prom
Yeah,
with
we
this.
have fears. We have fears. Why?
But
But
Why?
hey,
They're
hold
so
on.
Too much.
I got something to say on this.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with Joe. Look, it's not about, per se, the priests are trying to dictate what you should or what you shouldn't do. Because God gave us that will when He created us, right?
That's true.
What I think they're trying to say, and what Joe's right, is that they have a duty, because we are like their sons and daughters, right? And we represent a bigger body,
I think
right?
it's a responsibility, actually.
Yeah,
It is.
and
Yeah.
it is their responsibility,
Right, yeah.
right? Because these are our father of confession, and we go to
Yeah.
them and
Absolutely.
confess. And
That's
I'm sure
right.
a lot of us have confessed about prom,
It's
right?
fair.
So if they can have a say in it and to help us stray away from sin and not be that stumbling block for ourselves or for anyone else, I think that's their ultimate goal, right? Not to in the situation, excuse the Arabic, it means not.
Yeah, not
Not complicate.
To
Yeah.
Not to knock the
complicate, I
situation.
think
Thank you.
complicate.
Complicate the
Okay,
situation.
complicated is good.
But just to make our lives closer to God. I mean, like that's what we're all trying to achieve.
Yeah,
through this.
ultimately, right?
Oh,
You have to remember
ultimately.
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna continue it on. So don't worry, we got more to say about it.
Tons more.
Tons more.
Tons.
But we're
15 minutes more. Yeah.
good point.
Yeah.
However, we are going to end it off with a verse. It's from 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 12. All things are lawful for me, but not all things are helpful. Also, all things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. And remember, respect yourself.